How's everybody doing? It is Thursday. I think it's Thursday, which means we're almost through the week. Congratulations. Tomorrow's Friday. This is 13 Nights of Tiki Frights, sponsored by The Search for Tiki, which is us, and Scooter, who's an amazing artist, who designed some shameless self-promotion here. These naughty cat Mai Tai glasses, which are sick, and they're on our store. So we'll get the shameless promotion out of the way, because we got a fun night. These are the cocktail umbrellas that go with the Mai Tai glasses. Check those out. Pretty cool. Tonight we got a couple things going on. First, we're giving away a epic tiki mug. This super limited edition Sea Horrors Tiki mug by Tiki Diablo for 3 dots and a dash. What's special about this mug is it was actually produced in very low quantities, I think less than 30, for COVID-19 bar relief for bartenders that were out of work. It's good to see everybody joining in. So we're going to be giving away this mug towards the end of the stream and announcing what tomorrow's mug giveaway is going to be. We also have the Enchanted Tiki Drummer Box, which is a carving contest. If you submit a pumpkin or a pineapple that you've carved and we like your design the best, you'll win that box. And second and third place winners get something as well. Also tonight, which is probably why most of you are tuning in, if not for the giveaway, is we have a very special guest, BigToe, which we're going to try to bring in right now. Get him with us. And feel free, as we're doing this, if you have any questions for BigToe, put it in the comments. There he is.
Aloha.
Aloha. How's it going, man?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Awesome.
I like the shirt. I like the background.
Thank you. I think I need to lower my camera or back up or something because there's too much toe.
You can never have too much toe.
Yeah, you know, we fit in as much as we can in these little cameras.
Where are you at?
This is just my little tiki corner, which I have decorated for Halloween. So
okay,
some little trophy skulls and some cobwebs and some bats and stuff. So I made
that is fantastic. This is something I don't know about you. Are you a big Halloween person?
You know, my kids are grown up, so I mean, I'm a big horror fan, so you know, I guess you could say I'm a big Halloween guy.
They kind of go hand in hand.
It's my favorite holiday, you know, holiday season.
Perfect. Hey, so we're so glad to have you here. I've never actually talked to you before.
Yeah.
So that's exciting for me.
Yeah, I've had fun watching the interviews. You know, I've known Biggs for a while just from doing Viva Las Vegas, and
yeah.
You know, it's super fun to see last night's show with Horror and Clay. That was super fun. So yeah, this has been a blast. I appreciate you doing it. So
thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers to everyone.
Dink.
Ching.
And Big spoke very highly of you.
None of it's true.
None of it's true. You degenerate.
No, I've tricked him into doing a few art shows at Viva Las Vegas. And,
yeah.
You know, I don't know how influential I am on his tiki career, but I'm happy to take full credit. It's so brilliant. He's really doing an amazing job, and so that's all been super fun.
So anything that Mike does going forward is just an extension of BigToe.
Yes, exactly. You know, I have to say, there was a lot of artists who helped me and taught me the ropes and,
yeah.
You know, showed me how to do stuff as I was, you know, first starting out as an artist. And, you know, so any little bit that I can pay forward to younger artists, I'm so thrilled. And, you know, when I curate art shows, which I try not to do very much because it's like herding cats, but it's very important to me to have some new young artists, and always to have female artists because you know uh, it's just the right thing to do.
Yep, for sure. And so your background, for people that don't know, Big Toe, you kind of got all the boxes checked. Okay,
Yeah,
surfing,
yeah,
lowbrow, tiki art, check, 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 check.
yeah. I mean, I grew up in Southern California, and specifically in Los Angeles.
Yep.
So it was all sort of ubiquitous here. I didn't really know tiki was different from surf culture. Uh, I guess until I got out of college. Growing up, we were just always at the beach. My family didn't have a lot of money, and there was a lot of kids, so we couldn't take expensive vacations. So our vacations would always be, camping at San Alejo State Park and
Yep.
in County San Diego, and we spent all day, literally all day, riding the surf, and in San Diego and LA, the tiki apartments and the ubiquitousness of tiki had been there since the mid-century, just sort of left over, and it wasn't called anything because it was just sort of island lifestyle, and
Yeah.
so it wasn't till I graduated from college and started going to tiki bars that I figured out this is a new and unique thing, and there's a cocktail culture built around it, and
Yep.
sort of figured out that. And also, my first one of my first lives after college was art directing surf company. So I would take groups of artists and professional athletes to different places in the South Pacific for research and development.
what a life.
So we had to take pictures of them surfing and get sort of background cultural sort of ephemera and
Yep.
lifestyle photography to sell the idea of the surf brands to our licensees. So there actually was a practical reason for it, but we mostly just got in trouble.
What's the biggest wave? Like, I know you've surfed, but what level of surfing would you put yourself at?
Like upper medium. I've surfed overhead surf in Hawaii and got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
I learned humiliation. One of the guys that I knew in Hawaii from the surf industry was a guy named Brian Kealana, who was literally Hawaiian royalty, and in Makaha on the east side of the island of Oahu. And his thing was never turn your back on the ocean and always give it, the respect that it deserves, because all life comes from the ocean. And
Yep.
you learn from Hawaiians a healthy respect for the ocean and how insignificant you are.
Do you know anyone personally that's done Jaws? With
Yeah.
so like the wintertime, like ridiculous waves.
Guys that I've talked to, and Jerry Lopez and Brian Kealana and a few other surfers that I've worked with on occasion that have surfed there, and Mavericks in Southern California, which is to me even more gnarly because there's a lot of great white sharks out there. So
Okay.
you won't catch me doing that. I mean, I'm not good enough to surf a big Hawaiian, like Sunset Beach or Pipeline on a big day, But I can surf pretty much anything that happens in Southern California.
There you go. Have you ever encountered like a shark or anything of that magnitude while surfing?
Little ones.
Little ones.
Little ones. Uh, Sharks are very shy creatures, and they're really not as dangerous as you would think.
Yeah.
They're always out there, and people don't get attacked very much. So it's much more. Your chances of getting hurt are much higher from just people kicking their boards out at you or doing stupid stuff. So I've had lots of stitches and head wounds and
Oh boy.
bits in my flesh from other people's surfboards than I have from any big fish. And reefs, coral reefs in the South Pacific. I've left flesh on reefs in Fiji and Hawaii and Western Samoa.
I'm hurting just thinking about that.
Yeah, reefs are no joke.
And that's obviously where you probably get the biggest waves too.
Yeah.
That's
it's
that's the whole deal, really.
Yeah, an order of magnitude different. Hawaiian surf is, like for the same size waves is 10 times as critical. So there's no comparison. But so growing up surfing in tiki sort of, and with the surf industry, the tiki sort of melded into the surf. And then my dad grew up building hot rods and racing at El Mirage in the late 40s.
Okay.
So, I mean, I didn't really get too much into hot rods except for just being a big fan of Ed Roth. I didn't build anything myself until I was in my, try to build anything myself until I was in my 20s. And even then, it was a disaster. I can't, as a mechanic, I'm worthless. So,
well, you're good at the art, so maybe stick to the art.
Yeah, I can draw beautiful cars, but I can't build them to save my life. I'll save that for my friends who have wrenching talent.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, here's another question that I don't know. And I don't even know if I researched this, if it would come up with an answer, but what is the origin of your name?
BigToe. The Cliff Notes version is, there's a movie called Stripes, and in it, there's Bill Murray. It's comedy about the military, and there's a badass drill instructor character called Sergeant Hulka, and the Bill Murray character calls him. He says, "You're the big toe, and we're the little toes."
Okay. Okay.
And when I would take these kids to all these places like Tahiti or Hawaii, I'm chasing them around trying to make sure they don't get killed and don't get attacked, hurt, and don't get murdered by French Foreign Legionnaires in Tahiti. So I was constantly yelling at them and throwing things at them, and so they started calling me BigToe.
Oh, so it wasn't you didn't choose it. It was given to you.
Yeah. It was given to me specifically by another artist who's now in San Pedro now, called Scott Eicher. And there's a lot worse things people call me. So it just kind of stuck. And when I started doing art, there was a lot of nom de plumes, nom de guerres, if you will, because there was a lot of artists that were doing graffiti. I wasn't, but there was a lot of artists that were, and so a lot of people had these pseudonyms. So,
well, it works.
That one stuck.
It's a very good name, and I think it's very fitting to the whole lowbrow art scene. How would you describe lowbrow art for people that don't know?
Well, in a nutshell, the title was given to the genre kind of as a joke by Robert Williams, who was one of the founders of Juxtapoz magazine and was also he was one of Ed Roth, Big Daddy Roth's original artists. And, he was using it as a comparison with highbrow art, which is, educated, biblical, and philosophy and Greek mythology-based orientation, as opposed to lowbrow art, which is based on pop culture. So, the artists that were my heroes were artists like, definitely Robert Williams, who's, my hero. But also guys like the Piz and Todd Shore and Mark Ryden and Glenn Ball, Mitch O'Connell. Who else? Keith Wiesner, Kozik. Did I say the Piz? These artists that were the first generation of what we now think of. And just a lot of those artists were, the founding members of this movement. That was, it was narrative-based art, and it was more realistic-based than the surrealistic stuff that was happening when I got out of school, and based on what we grew up with, which is comic books and Disneyland and pornography and more proletariat kind of pursuits, if you will.
Yeah. For those watching, the Piz did some incredible tiki mugs too.
Yeah, the Piz was he was the grungiest of the lowbrow artists, man. He was a straight up Hollywood kind of denizen, and was a autodidactic artist. In other words, a self-taught artist, and what had a very gruff exterior, and but what had a heart of gold, and was very generous with his time for me, and also a lot of other artists. Like one of my good friends is an artist called Candy, and she was his apprentice, and she's still working now and is an amazing artist. So look her up too. I think it's Candy or Candy Wild on
Instagram.
But she just released her book, and it's fantastic. She's amazing.
Okay, there you go. That's your homework for tonight, everyone who's watching. Go look up Candy.
Definitely a frustrated teacher. But yeah, so Piz was good friends with Holden, who was the guy that started Tiki Farm. And I met both those guys about the same time. Holden and I went to Cal State Long Beach at the same time. And, I met Piz through doing the action sports retailer shows, where he would be there lurking around and, this creepy little dude. And I had figured out who he was, and, went up and introduced myself. And I was expecting him to be a complete jerk, but he was very, at first very suspicious, but, very nice guy.
Was it Holden that got you to do your first tiki mug, or was it someone else?
Yeah. I don't know about my levels. I'm hoping I'm not talking too loud.
You're good.
But Holden and I went to school together, and I knew him just from the clubs. We'd be out there dancing to Madonna or Joy Division, whatever was on. I guess it was New Order at that point. But anyway, but then years later, I ran into him at a art show in Laguna, and, we talked, and he said, yeah, I'm doing this Tiki Farm thing. And I go, oh, well, I paint some tikis. So I went down and met with them, and I can show you. Do you want to see my first tiki mugs with Holden?
Yes, I do.
2000.
I speak for everyone on the stream when I say yes.
2008. So I did a set of 3 tiki mugs, and they were Ukulolo, which is just kind of a barrel shape.
Yep.
And
it's got that BigToe face that we all know and love.
Which is, he's called Lino because of this, he's kind of, which is by far my most knocked off mug. You can get this, these are long sold out, but you can get one from Alibaba, because
67 different Chinese manufacturers.
And then the big guy was this guy who was called Big Neho, this is the first giant mug that, you know, I ever saw. And he's got the little, you know, I love you signs. Everybody thinks he's doing porn.
Yep.
I love you, which I think is kind of funny. But he's a big badass, and I love the stair step top and, you know, the big goofy BigToe teeth and everything.
Yep.
So, and these came in two different glazes, brown and green, and then also he did a run of shot mugs or mug shots. So yeah, so those were the first ones I did with Holden in 2008.
Do you have any idea how many of those were made? How many exist out in the? How many?
500 of each.
Okay, so yeah, those are hard to find, probably.
Yeah, they're hard to find. Not like my most ubiquitous mug is the Lava Legend, which I think there have been something like 50,000. I don't know exactly, but that's a mug from Frankie's Tiki Room, and so, you know, they've been that's this one.
Yep.
And they've been making these nonstop since 2009. Frankie's Tiki Room.
How many glazes do you think there are of the? Do you know of the Lava Legend?
There was green. Then they did an overglaze of blue. So that was the first two glazes, and then they did one that's red and white, which the current one now. And you want a top secret spoiler?
Sure. Who doesn't?
These aren't available yet, but this is the next glaze for the Lava Ledge.
Ready.
So that's the new one.
That's sick.
So it's like a dusty blue.
Yeah.
With, you can see that's the regular red, and then it's got, you know, sort of a maroon white. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Do you have any idea when it's coming out?
Yeah, they'll probably be released around the beginning of the year.
Okay.
They also released a new Surf Dragon, but those have already been released.
Okay. I don't know if I've seen the new Surf Dragon. What color is it?
It's orange.
Okay.
Like a reddish orange.
Yeah.
Pretty trippy.
How did you end up designing a mug for Frankie's Tiki Room? Did they approach you?
Well, there was an art show at Modern Gallery in Palm Springs right before Frankie's open. Yeah, that in answer to somebody that just asked, that blue Lava Ledge will be out at probably the beginning of the year. But the way this happened was, so we had this art show at M Modern, and Moss, the owner of Frankie's, came out to that gallery, and he bought a bunch of art for the bar. And one of the big pieces he bought was my painting Ruby's Dilemma.
They're so good.
And he bought art from Doug Horn and Ken Ruzick and, you know, Shag and just, you know, sort of all the usual suspects. And then based on that, you know, I started spending more time out there, and because I go out every year for Viva Las Vegas, and I started talking to him, and he's like, yeah, you know, I want to redesign this mug, and I want to do something a little different. And I thought I was designing a zombie mug.
Okay.
So that's why he looks like a zombie. And I gave them a bunch of different designs, and this is the one they picked, and I had never seen a mug that did that.
Kind of wavy.
I don't know if it looks like like my screen is distorting, but the idea that it curves and then comes back was something that you know, I hadn't seen. So I thought it was kind of cool to give it like a little bit of a psychedelic spin to the zombie. You know, because it's kind of like that. There's a technique that not Vincent Price, but Alfred Hitchcock developed, where you zoom the camera in while you're rolling it back. And there's this name for it. but because of that horror camera move, you get disoriented. It's like you use it a lot, like in Vertigo, where when somebody's falling, you feel like you're disoriented too. And they did it in The Birds. They did it in what's the one with the knife?
Psycho.
Psycho. So so they're zooming in while pulling the camera back, so you get this weird. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just disorienting. And so I thought tweaking the mug like that would, it does. It looks like it's going to tip over.
A couple just.
Especially after a couple of those strong Frankie's drinks.
And I don't know how you did it, but 13 Nights at Tiki Frights, you somehow managed to bring in Alfred Hitchcock.
Well, of course.
So, ta-da!
Yeah, I do have other horror, Halloween touch points to share with you as the night goes on, but no spoilers.
No spoilers. We already got a spoiler.
You're gonna have to ask me what's coming up next. And then,
what's coming up next? Let's see. Hey, you mentioned Doug Horn, Ken Ruzick. You guys worked on a mug together with Atomic Kitty. It's probably one of the coolest mugs I've seen, and I don't know if I don't have one because it's super rare.
We made 100.
Yep.
I can that one. So Ken and Doug and I are in an artist collective called the Gargantuas, and obviously it's very serious, very very
highbrow.
Yeah, very highbrow. Basically, the collective is the three of us, and then our mascot. We have a Kiwi mascot, Kiwi Craig. We get together and we get intoxicated and draw and watch bad movies and insult each other. So
that's the best party I think I've ever heard of.
And we have guest artists in. Every once in a while somebody will join us. But we started doing art shows, and the idea of our Gargantua art shows is we pick a bunch of different themes. So some of them will be tiki, but then other things we'll do things like conspiracy theories and self-portraits and reworking of old master paintings, and we do horror a lot now because Doug's kind of straddling the horror side of things with Tiki, where I'm more, custom culture or hot rod with Tiki. So, we'll do, scary stories or whatever. And so we've tried to always do a bowl. And it's usually the art show is two of us and then a guest artist. So 2 years ago, we did the this thing, which is the Legendary Realms Bowl. And it's a bowl. It's a legit bowl. It's got a fun glaze on the inside. And each of the pillars was designed by one of the Gargantuas. And the way we work this one is each pillar is meant to honor, pay homage to a different Hawaiian Islands or Polynesian Islands group. So I did this Kamapua'a, pig god for Hawaii, and Ken Ruzick did this sort of underworld deity for Papua New Guinea. Doug did this sort of, I think he called this a water spirit for the Marquesas. And our guest this year was Atomic Kitty. And Susie did this air sort of deity, which, as everybody will recognize, is for Rapa Nui, or Easter Island.
Yep.
So air and Rapa Nui, Earth and Hawaii, the underworld and Papua New Guinea, and the ocean and the Marquesas. So kind of a cool thing, and each of us signed it, and it says "Battle for the Island of the Gargantuas" on the bottom, which was the name of that show that year. So pretty fun.
Right, that is a Grail mug. right there. I think not just for me, but a lot of people, that's a Grail mug.
Well,
And
this is another news flash. We're trying to do the show again. The show's supposed to be the first week in November, which obviously isn't happening. We pushed the show back a few months. So we're trying to do another gargantuous bowl. So, oh, thanks. Holdfast says I should do a Kamapua'a mug. That I agree. That'd be fun. I need to get that going. That's a good idea. But we're going to try to do another bowl this year or next year for 2021, maybe by February or March.
yep.
We'll see.
I agree with the comment too that you guys should start recording those gatherings.
You know, we did have a really cool video. We had a couple videos last year. Our guest artist was Thomas Fernandez, and who's an amazing tattoo artist, and he does skateboards, and
Yep.
he posted a bunch of stuff he did for Rob Zombie, so he's pretty amazing anyway. But we had there's a podcast called Inside the Desert Oasis Room.
Yep.
With Adrian, and he came out and recorded, and then we also had another recording. I have a long neglected YouTube channel. I'll try to post some of those on there, and so you guys can keep an eye on my Instagram, and I'll let you know when I have some of that stuff posted.
That'd be fantastic. And he's got his own mug too, right? Is it a Lono? But it's kind of cool because it looks like a vintage microphone.
Oh yeah, Adrian's got a few. I want to say he's got at least two now. He's got a Filipino tourist tiki that's super rad, and then he's got the microphone, which is also just one of the all-time greatest mugs.
Yeah, I love it when it's an idea that's so simple, and you take two things, you put them together, and it's like you see it, and you're like, how did that not already exist?
That's our whole job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many brilliant artists working in tiki, and I think Doug does a really good job of that. Ken Ruzick does a great job of that. Tiki Tony, does great mashups. So yeah, there's a lot of good artists that do that.
Do you have so your art is pretty interesting to me because a lot of artists, they'll do like, here's a tiki and a tiki rum, but yours almost are like a story. It's like a cartoon. When you start a piece, do you have a story in mind, or are you just kind of winging it?
Yeah, you know what? One of the cornerstones of lowbrow art is that it's all narrative based. So I've brought that Lost Idols in the house. Sorry, I'm reading the comments too. So
we like Lost Idols. He'll be on the show later. He'll be on the show Halloween.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. He does amazing work, and I've been following his feed on Instagram. So there's all these people I don't know what they look like. So that's but, so my approach to I've been a graphic designer and illustrator for too many years. I don't even know how many years. 40. So I approach everything with as much backstory in my head as I can, and whenever I approach a new mug, I always want to know what their thinking is, as much as they want to give me into, what their vision is. And then as much or as little as they give me, I try to bring, something to the party and try to ideate. And I do a lot of thumbnail sketching and, come up with something as stupid as possible, that I think is going to be amusing for me. And so that's what I present to the client.
It's interesting you say that because I was talking to Van Tiki a while back. He'll be on the show tomorrow night. Yeah. And we were talking about one of the things as being a new person in Tiki that kind of baffles me is like, why does John Mulder, why does Van Tiki, why do they still do mugs for bars? Because they can do their own mugs and sell them out right away. So why would they want to split the profits? And I was talking to Van Tiki about it, and he was like, well, we really like some of these people, and we work together, the collaborative effort, we end up with a much better mug,
Yeah.
a much better design. So it's
Oh, yeah.
interesting to hear you kind of say a similar thing in terms of your art.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say Heinrich is a huge influence. Just if you look at the teeth on my mugs, I mean, there's, Heinrich, Van Tiki, and Ed Roth. Those are my two teeth influences.
There you go.
I think with both Mulder and Van Tiki and any like Diablo and even somebody like MP who doesn't need to do bar tiki.
Yeah.
I think they do that for gravitas to make sure they're relevant, and to just show that they're legit. I guess those guys obviously are legit, but it's super fun to go to a bar and sign a mug.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That's
You did recently, right? Because you just came out with a mug with strong water.
Yeah, the sucking the monkey mug,
which is fantastic. I mean, look at that. It doesn't get more BigToe than that.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how wheelhouse this is for me because it's very cute. It almost looks like something that Tiki Tony would have done. But Robert at Strongwater and Ying, the owners, are super creative. And, so this was actually his idea. And the idea comes from the idea that the sailors in the Royal Navy, when they were sailing ships, would poke a hole in coconuts and fill them with rum and then smuggle them back on the boat.
Okay.
So drinking, when they said sucking the monkey, that was an analogy for drinking some hooch. And so I thought that was funny. So he kind of looks drunk, and he's a green coconut.
Yep.
Which kind of incongruous to the tourist coconut mugs are always brown. But so this was a really fun collaboration, and I really enjoyed it. I think John Mulder at Ecom Bookham did a phenomenal job on this one. It's the perfect size, and if you get down to Anaheim, if you're at Disneyland or something, whenever they open,
yep.
The sucking the monkey cocktail that comes in this it's like a painkiller without the nutmeg. It's super delicious. So I give it a thumbs up and an okay, and so
a 10 out of 10 toes.
What's that?
A 10 out of 10 toes.
10 out of 10. Yeah. You can still. I'm not sure if the bar still has some of these on their website, but I still have these on my on my Etsy page. So if you want one of these, it's whatever it is. You can find my my Etsy shop as a hot link through my Instagram account, like in my profile.
Yep. That's fantastic. And you have another mug you worked on recently with Monk Tiki, right?
I'm sorry?
You have another mug that you worked on recently with Monk Tiki, the Island Girl. What is it called? Forbidden Island?
So it's based on my painting Forbidden Island, but out of respect to Michael at one of my all-time favorite tiki bars up in Alameda, Forbidden Island, we didn't want to call the mug Forbidden Island. But basically what it is it's I don't want to rubber her naughty bits, but it's a sort of bas-relief mug, and there's a little, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of bas-relief, and it's basically a sublimated print that's then glazed. And some of you might recognize it. It's an old tourist photo of Tahiti that I've colorized, and it's got an old sort of schooner the lagoon. And then these are tikis that I photographed at the Place of Refuge.
That's one of my favorite places on Kona.
Oh, so good.
It's so good.
Yeah. So that's my last one for Monk Tiki. I also have a new one with Monk Tiki that I think is going to land in about 8 weeks or 2 months, or
Okay.
I can say 8 weeks, isn't it? But 2 or 4 months for a little bar in Ventura called Tiki.
Yeah, okay.
So that's going to be their new house mug, which I'm super excited about. It's super cool.
And Ben Tiki, that's the one that was kind of designed by Tiki Tony, right?
Yeah.
Got a lot of his influence in there.
Tony overtones. He lives right down the hill from there. So, but this one's crazy. It's I think somebody else just spoiled my next one. But Dole Whip 3313 says the creature. I've got something like 12 mugs in the hopper now. You know, everything kind of got backed up with the pandemic.
Yeah.
China was shut down for a few months, so you know I've got some really exciting stuff coming from Tiki Farm, and then also from Monk Tiki, and I have another super top secret thing that I can't announce that I'm doing. And a couple bars. A lot of you have seen the one that just came out from Max's Tiki Room, which it's called the Toe Guaco. It's basically patterned after a Mulan Guaco Tiki that is there at Max's South Seas Hideaway there in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yep.
And there's a little gecko there. And I've given him sort of big toe teeth, which is why he's called the Toe Guaco. But I was all set to go out there for the signing of that mug. But travel got shut down the week I was getting ready. So shout out to Mark and everybody at Max's.
So I didn't realize until I saw their latest mug with gecko.
Yeah.
That gecko was associated with that bar. Is that the reason that there's a gecko on the back of that mug?
Yeah. You know what? You're the first person to make that association, but cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag.
You literally are the first one to make that association.
Really?
Because Gecko is another hero. One of the most, generous, kind-hearted, brilliant artists, making mugs and, other stuff. He's an amazing sculptor and tiki carver as well. But shout out to Gecko on Oahu. Amazing man, amazing family. And, he's a co-owner at Max's, which I give huge credit to Mark for doing. And he set up their mug program. And so you're the first. I can't believe you're the first person to make that association.
That can't be. There's got to be someone else.
Oh, no, you're the first.
It has to be. That's a really cool reference.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You guys want to see that again? Now that there's my little homage to Gecko. He's got his tongue hanging out, so he's obviously been in, maybe sampled inside the mug a little bit. But
cheeky.
For that reason, I actually enjoy this side of the mug a lot more than this. That's me and Mulan Guaco, But Gecko. Oh, and also a quick shout out to Anthony Carpenter, who did this logo, he did a lot of the art for the bar and also for Tiki Cat, and is another unsung artist that doesn't get enough credit. So Anthony Carpenter, look him up too. More homework.
There are many.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons we started making the Search for Tiki, is because contrary to popular opinion, people think Ooga Mooga went down and we started making the search for Tiki. That's not true. We started making the search for Tiki before it. And one of the reasons was I was new to Tiki. I was trying to figure out which artists were the most important. And when you went on Ooga Mooga, it was just like a list of hundreds of names. I'm like, I don't know where to start. I don't know how to learn this. It's overwhelming. So we wanted to make a site that kind of points you in the direction. It's like a helping hand that's like, hey, these artists are really cool and important.
Yeah, there's so many. You know, I feel like having started a little later in 2006, there's so many artists on whose shoulder I feel like I'm standing for any success I've had. You know, Shag, Derek Yaniger, and Doug Horn, and Ken Ruzick, and Atomic Kitty, Susie. I could go on for a while, but you know, Cass Oceatica, Cass Mcclure is an amazing mug maker that a lot of people don't know because he kind of has been here and moved on. Miles Thompson, you know, there's so many amazing Tiki. I'm looking around to see if I can remember artists that I forgot whose art I have on my wall. Hitting people, you know, even Drew Brophy, and Rick Riedfeld, who are primarily known as surf artists, but they were early artists for Tiki Farm, and you know, so are important in the Tiki story. Dave Cohen, Squid, who I heard a rumor has some new mugs coming out.
I heard a similar rumor.
You're gonna be blown away. I mean, I got a preview, and you're gonna be blown away. You're gonna, you know, when Bauer announces these mugs, you're gonna be like, need to get on it and jump on those. But you know,
I didn't realize when I started. So like Search for Tiki has kind of like a news feed of mug announcements, and when I started that, I thought it was going to be, you know, a few mugs a week, and then as soon as I started doing it, it's like 11 mugs a week. I'm like, I have no life anymore. All I'm doing is getting text messages. Upload this mug. There's a new mug. It's like, ah. But it just goes to show how popular that Tiki has become. I mean, it's kind of ebbed and flowed over time. And I don't know if it was Trader Sam's. I don't know what it was, but people like Tiki now.
I couldn't tell you if it was, you know, there's a number of things that have happened. Tiki Land Trading Company, which is an amazing, I mean, those guys are brilliant marketers. And with their events, they've brought a whole new sort of demographic into our world. And I think exploded the Tiki scene exponentially. And then also Tikis. Brandon's take on taking pop culture figures and doing with Tiki mugs what, you know, like, what's that company that Funko did with just action figures?
Yep, the little pop things.
Yeah, the Funko Pop. But Brandon at Geeky Tiki's, I mean, you know, a lot of people say they aren't purist Tiki. I mean, they look like Tiki mugs to me, and they're bitchin', and you can get, you know, like your favorite horror thing or your favorite Marvel character or Batman, you know. So,
although I don't think it's worth the $10,000 that someone listed the Batmobile on eBay for. No, thank you.
Go figure.
I'm sorry, but you guys are dreaming. You're smoking something. You ain't getting 10 grand for it.
Yeah, things are worth what people will pay for them. So if you look at Tiki Gill's I Lava You bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Most effing adorable thing I've ever seen in my life. That's a collab between Tiki Gill from San Diego and Diablo, I think, right?
Yep.
And it's just the most, I mean, the cartoon brought me to tears. It's just a short from Disney that was out with Moana. I don't know if everybody knows that, but it's just a little volcano and a little Pele goddess, and they fall in love. And so they did a mug of it, and it's just, you know, it's as valuable as the Buzz Lightyear Disney mug.
It's probably the grail.
Yeah.
I think if you were to go on a search for Tiki and look up what mug is on the most people's wish list, it has got to be the I Lava You bowl by
Well,
those guys.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
nuts. But case in point, I mean that mug, even as popular as it is, I think the highest I've seen it go for is like $2,500, which that's still a huge chunk of money. But it's not 10 grand for a Batmobile.
that's crazy. Well, I know Mulder didn't make very many of those. That was a collaboration between Mulder and Geeky Tiki.
Okay, yeah. You know, I say this, and people are always like, Geeky Tikis are cheap mugs, but I was one of the people that paid an obscene amount of money for those Star Wars mugs. And I have no shame admitting it.
Are you talking about the regular Geeky Tiki or the Shag Geeky Tiki?
The shag ones.
I mean, that's an investment.
Yeah, I had to get the Boba Fett. And when I got the Boba Fett, I was like, you know what? I can't just have Boba Fett. I got to have all four. And next thing you know, I didn't get paid that week.
Shag is a good investment.
Yeah.
You will never be sorry with a Shag investment of anything. His art, his chimneys, he did an amazing rock art piece. Whatever he does turns to gold. He's got his finger on the pulse of the American zeitgeist. I don't know what
he does.
You can't hate him though, because he's a super nice guy and good surfer, and so.
What's not to like?
Yeah, what's that like? Aloha, Shag. So, not that he's here. I'm just saying if he ever watches this.
Yeah. No, I was reading the comments.
What's your Grail mug?
My Grail mug?
Yeah.
Well, other than that legendary Realms Bowl,
You want to hear what mine is?
Sure.
Oh, but it's far and away no comparison. The Ren Clark severed head.
Oh.
And then a bob. I don't have an original bob. So.
Yeah, I don't either. But I think there are several original bobs, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they were different. They were labeled as different restaurants and whatnot.
The most dear one, if you will, is whose art is lame? Shag? Stop.
Dude, trust.
You know what?
Comments are brutal. I
know.
wish the comments would post when I post these live streams after the fact. But
there's always going to be people who don't have that taste level, but you can hate on that style of art, but there's nobody who's more clever with their narrative. And, that's including people like Mark Ryden and Todd Shore and, okay, so there's a lot. But you can't beat the cleverness of Shag and the amazing cultural touch points. He's so cool. Who else has been in the, cool original surf bands and, been, the founding fathers of Tiki and Lowbrow. And
I think it's also.
I'll get off my Shag evangel. I don't need to evangelize for Shag. But the most sought after bob is the one that was a cast present for Blue Hawaii, the Elvis movie.
Oh, the Elvis. Yep. Okay.
So that one, I think Tiki Chippy might have one, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to ask.
If anyone does, it's got to be Tiki Chippy.
Chippy's awesome. Anytime I have any tiny little Bob reference in a mug, he's the first one in line. So Chippy always gets the number ones for me of those mugs.
Has he called Guinness Records? I don't know if he has for most Bobs in the world, but
I don't know.
Elvis. I wonder if I didn't realize that they gave away mugs for movies. I know that they do it for the Pixar movies, but I wonder if that started with Blue Hawaii.
Well, cast or crew gifts is something that always happens when a movie wraps by tradition.
Yep.
And Tiki Mugs is with a movie set in Hawaii is just kind of a no-brainer.
But I think it must have been, I want to say Lassiter, because they were just doing. I think they have mugs for pretty much every Pixar
Well, yeah, one of those guys, I can't remember who it is, but Bamboo Ben built their whole, one of the Pixar guys has a tiki office built by Bamboo Ben.
Yeah. Okay.
So, it's kind of, something that they're into.
Another legend in his own right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you in person my first introduction to Bamboo Ben, because it wasn't very complimentary.
Okay. This sounds like a good story. I'm listening.
Yeah, I mean, I've got stories for a lot of legends that I can't tell you.
We'll talk not on live someday.
Like I've got stories about Greg Knoll, who's one of the pioneer big wave surfers that curled my toes, and I'm. Somebody's asking me about the George Lucas mug. So that was a collaborative effort. There was some George Lucas Pixar people, or I guess it was Lucasfilms people, did a mug for George Lucas for, I think, a birthday. I'm not sure, but I designed the George Lucas mug. And what happens a lot with entertainment companies is Tiki Pop.
Welcome, Tiki Pop.
What happens is a lot is they'll take things in and blue line it and fix it to their specifications. So I didn't get the designer credit on the Lucas mug, which is fine. They did some fun things to make it unique, and so I just did the first pass on it. Holden's been very good to me, and he paid me, so I'm happy.
They're trying to distract you from that story you were going to tell us.
At the Christmas party. Thank you for the story. But somebody there at Lucas did a really good revision, and I stoked to have partnered on whoever finally designed it. It looked rad.
Do you do commission work now?
I do. I'm doing rum label at the moment. Then after that, I've got a tiki mug for a local bar, and I'm got a couple paintings on the easel that are tiki and not tiki. So yeah, I stay busy with a lot of different kinds of projects.
Someone asked, they were just coming into the stream, if you have any mugs in the works. Yes, he has many, many mugs in the works.
So, at this second, you want another teaser? I don't think I've told anybody this.
You're a big fan of the rhetorical questions.
I know. So, this is a mug that should be out right around Christmas, and this is a painting that I did. Another narrative idea. This is just a print, but I don't know if you recognize that dude, but
no, who is that?
If Frankenstein's monster, he's kind of distorted. If he had traveled south to the South Pacific instead of getting on the Transceiver north, I think he would have been revered as an elder and maybe been a god in the South Pacific. So he's got New Zealand Moco, and that one's in the works from Tiki Farm. So
I'm gonna hold you for a second. So Instagram's yelling at me that they limit it to an hour. So we're gonna lose you, but I'll call you back in.
Okay.
All right.
So that one's in the progress, and I've got two other really fun ones from Tiki Farm. I've got one I think right now with Monk Tiki, and a couple other that I can't talk about. And then, do you want to see the one that I'm really excited about? That somebody
hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Okay.
I'm gonna call you back in.
We'll do that one on the flip side.
I'll see you in a sec.
Okay.